Hey, y'all. Welcome to Altitude Wisdom with the host, Dylan Ostendorf. And with my guest today, we have Casey Comer. Casey, how you been?
Good, man. Today I do my done by ones. So the night before I plan out my day, and then I finished all my stuff, and the last thing I needed to do was podcast with Dylan. So now I'm doing that right now, and then I'm gonna be done with the stuff for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I mean, you're meeting with that. What's his name again? The guy you're meeting with today?
His name's Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah. But
And what's his, main, job? What's his job right now?
so he owns a nutrition place here. He co-owns it with his wife, and then he has basically an online fitness and mindset program that he's doing with a large community, which is what I want to do. So he's basically got 10 years on me in terms of experience. And then I just happened to step into his nutrition shop, talk to somebody else, and then they introduced me to him. And so, yeah, it's a pretty good opening into all that stuff. Sort of 10 years on me and keep me from making all these mistakes that he's made. So,
Yeah.
pretty valuable.
Yeah. He seems like a pretty cool guy. From what I've heard from him, or from you, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll get started today. What is your daily routine right now?
My daily routine.
The
So,
morning routine, I guess.
I'll answer the first question. So, my daily routine used to be super consistent, and the problem that I faced is I never had time to have spontaneity. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Have you ever heard of him before?
No, I have not.
So
Remind me.
he's really into the health and wellness space, but more of sort of an esoteric, spiritual type of space. So he
Okay.
focuses on like meditation and like brain waves and stuff like um, kind of like the manifestation subconscious mind sort of space. And something that he preaches is if you're always in a set routine, you're not going to be able to allow the blessings sort of come to light.
Okay.
And so if you're always doing the same thing every single day, doing the same exact 9 to 5, you're going to always sort of be living in the past, right? So if you
Yeah.
have the same routine every day, you talk to the same people, you're going to be anticipating the same thing you do. You're like, okay, now I do this routine. Now next I'm going to be doing this meeting. I'm going to see these coworkers. You're always living in the future.
Yeah, it's just the same
Right.
old routines. Everything's just
Right.
the same. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but when you're not in the current moment and allowing for spontaneity to occur, there's really nothing that can bring you towards sort of a vision or a future that you have. So that's something that I've been recently learning about. But to answer your question, my morning routine, for the longest time, or at least currently, it involves some sort of meditation and then typically a cold shower. And that's pretty much what I've lessened it down to, just because I kind of treat it as like the laundry list of my life. So
Yeah.
I always notice when I get down into these downward spirals, these ruts of not being consistent or, delving into some sort of vice, eating junk food, etc. It usually happens because I started to neglect the laundry. And I treat meditation sort of as the laundry. If you don't do your laundry
Yeah.
for a long enough time, it's a bunch of dirty clothes are going to pile up.
Okay.
Your room's going to get messy,
Yeah,
start
it's
to
like
smell.
that brain fog.
Right,
Almost,
right.
what
And
you're talking
so
about.
I started doing that, and then I do the cold shower just because of the boost of dopamine.
Yeah.
So, and I do that every time I feel kind of crappy. If I get into sort of a lower state of mind, I start thinking about past sins or whatever you want to call it.
Guilt.
Right.
Life.
All
Yeah.
these sort of like lower vibrational things that just make your day worse.
Okay.
I just get in the cold shower, spike your dopamine, and then
Yeah,
I do
kind of
that.
just the only thing you're focused on is
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is fucking cold.
Yeah.
That's literally all you're thinking about. Because I do the same thing. Like, I'll just do my normal shower, and then towards the end, I'll just sit in the fucking cold
Yeah.
water for a minute, and it's
Right.
it's hard. Like, of course, it's gonna be hard, and you just gotta push past that pain, and you just gotta get done with it.
Right. No, and something that I took away from, I spent some time in Austin, as you know,
Yeah.
and I talked to a lot of people at this personal development event, and none of them took cold showers. I was confused. I realized, well, in Austin, Texas, in these warmer places, they don't
Mhm.
got the luxury of cold showers like we do. up in Wyoming.
Wait, really?
Well, yeah, the water doesn't get that cold. You turn it to the coldest setting, it's not like our stuff is freezing.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I would
yeah.
have thought down in Austin. That's what everyone would have been taking showers in.
Yeah,
This cold
no,
water.
well, I think that's why people in Austin, you see Joe Rogan and all those comedians that live in Austin specifically.
Yeah.
They do cold plunges, and they have ice
Mm.
baths. It's because I don't think their showers naturally are cold enough. At least I don't know.
Wow.
Of course, that's a complete scale of coldness, But I
Yeah.
found that interesting.
Yeah, no, I actually coming back to Austin, like just Austin in general. Why do you think that is like such a hub for like the self-improvement and just like those kind of creators now? Because it feels like everyone's going there.
To Austin,
Yeah.
I have no clue, to be honest. L.A. is clapped.
Yeah.
From
yeah.
what I understand,
LA
LA
something else.
is a lot of these cities are filled with drugs, homeless people. Of course, there's always homeless people in Austin, but even the homeless
Yeah.
people in Austin, they look like celebrities compared to the people heroin addicts, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
they look like clean. They
Yeah,
don't look
yeah,
messed up.
yeah, and I think mostly because the population there is young, very young.
Okay.
The median age, I heard, this was from somebody, I checked my sources, but 35 is the median age.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So
Damn.
pretty young, and then it's also a college town. They've got.
Well, they got SF Austin. They
Right.
got forget. There's another one, but yeah, no.
Yeah, they've got. I don't know if you've seen Austin, but they've got sort of a big pond sort of in the middle of the city,
Okay.
and there's a big like walking path, and everyone there is just running. Like it
Yeah.
is. Everyone there is pretty much in shape, which is surprising, especially for a place like Texas, dude.
Yeah.
You ever spent some time in Texas?
Everything's bigger in Texas. dude.
Especially the people, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Lord, that's where Buc-ee's originates, dude. It's like capitalism hell there. You go there,
Yeah.
see some people stuffing fudge down their mouth, giving it to the children and stuff. Not Austin, though.
Yeah. No, Austin sounds like a fun place. I was just in Dallas, like, like end of February almost, and it wasn't like what we seen. It
Mm.
seemed nice, but we didn't really explore the city too much. It was just we went from the airport straight to the airport hotel.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all we saw, and then me and some of the boys just went exploring, like just like 4 miles away from the hotel. Just walked around. I don't even know if I told you that, but like
I know you didn't.
no, like the last night we were just out drinking in the hotel, right?
Mm.
Just enjoying life, and some of the boys, they're kind of fucking idiots, but they decided to take some of the stuff that we bought, right?
Mhm.
And they started walking around town, and they'd start shotgunning it, like
Oh my god.
on some random street, right? And like we don't know this town, and we got in a whole thing like, oh, they're stupid. Like the 4 guys that were still in the hotel room just
Mhm.
chilling. And towards the end of the night, it was like 1 a.m. or whatever, and like me, my buddy Miles, and Hayden, they bought a pack of cigs, and we're just from the 7-Eleven, not even like 3 blocks away, because they brought their fakes, of course.
Mm.
And they we were just exploring, like got ourselves in this random park and just chilled for like an hour and a half just talking.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Again, that's like kind of what I was talking about earlier. That spontaneity, dude.
Yeah.
Just fucking off and being. I think we're all kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, everyone should be a kid at heart.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Everyone should be spontaneous, and that's kind of why I feel like I feel like there's a big transition happening right now.
Okay. what do you mean?
Where I feel like a lot of people are moving away from, especially even with the AI revolution, where these jobs that are like data entry are just completely being replaced by robot because it's cheaper. I think we're gonna move to a place where creativity and community is way more of a priority because like I said earlier,
Yeah.
in the modern day of America, at least as far as I know, I mean I'm only 20,
Yeah.
but there's this abundance of cubicle work and office jobs that are they're soulless.
Yeah, like you were saying, that just
Right.
continuous routine, just
Right.
the rat race, basically.
I suppose you could call it a rat race. I think it has a very negative connotation to it, but I think mostly a lot of people just don't take a second to get their head out of their ass to realize that what they're doing is dead end. You know, you
Yeah.
know, you could have people with a 6-figure job, you know, and they love it, but they do it because of the money. And I think that's something that's because it'd be much harder to leave a crappy job that pays you $100K a year than a crappy job that pays you $30K a year.
Yeah.
Because you think in your mind, oh, I made it. But it's like you got to think about, okay, yeah, you're
But
getting
you're
paid this
not
at the
enjoying
expense of your life, dude. At the
Yeah.
expense of your mental health, at the expense of spontaneity, at the expense of being a kid, you know?
Yeah. Well, I just heard something on like Chris Williamson's podcast not too long ago,
Mhm.
and he was talking about how people will be just complacent.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm making this, but
Mhm.
like I don't like my job, I don't like this, I don't like all these
Right.
things, but you know what? I'm gonna be putting in the most work. I think he was talking about like how they think they'll be the David Goggins of like work ethic and be like, I'm gonna work my ass off here at this job or
Mhm.
whatever, but I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of this I think self-improvement has had in the past, and I've suffered with this as well, but like kind of like I said earlier, productivity for the sake of productivity. It's like, you know, in Fight Club he says self-improvement is masturbation. It gets to a point when you're doing hard work for the sake of hard work, building discipline,
yeah, just
but it's
because-
going nowhere. It's like you kind of got to realign yourself, you know, take a step back and
Yeah.
realize these cycles you've been going through and kind of audit them, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I think at least.
Well, it doesn't have like a road or a goal.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
you could work your ass off.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 365.
Right.
Like you could do all this,
Mhm.
but without like some sort of road or goal that you're aligning towards,
Right.
where is it going?
Yeah, what's your North Star? You're going
Exactly.
You're going nowhere. And you highlighted something that I think is very valuable. There's this book that I highly recommend you read. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Okay, I have heard of that
It's
one.
so
yeah.
good. And it's this book of this guy who was a neuro or plastic surgeon.
Okay.
And he figured out what self-image was because people would go in there, they'd be like, oh, well, my life sucks because my nose is big. And then they'd fix their nose, and then they'd have a complete personality switch. It's like when you
Yeah.
go to the barber shop, you come out a new man.
and
It's-
you're all
it's your-
confident.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you could
yeah,
have like
yeah.
this most introverted person be
Yeah.
like comes out and he's like,
Yeah.
"What up?" like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
freaking jock now.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what he discovered. And the book goes into sort of this subconscious mind thing, and it talks about how the best way it can be described is or the way I like to describe it to people is birds. The reason they fly south for the winter is to survive and reproduce.
Yeah.
But they don't know intuitively, or they do know intuitively. They don't know consciously that that's where they need to go. They were never taught to fly south for the winter.
I mean, they
It's
got
an-
taught by just years of
Evolution.
evolution and like their parents, and then the parents it's just that ever-ending cycle. Like, oh,
Right.
they did it, so I have to do it. My kids will do it, and it just keeps going.
Do you think birds teach each other things? Do
I
you think it's like that, or do you think it's all instinctual?
I think it's just all animals in general.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, like, let's say you have a mama bear with cubs, but lives close to the city, right?
Right.
What they'll do is they'll go in the trash and whatever, and
Mhm.
then the cubs, like after the mom goes away or once they leave, the cubs will still end up doing it because they saw the mom do it.
Mm.
It's kind of
That makes
that,
sense.
like, it's similar to what we see as like children. Almost, if we see that kind of behavior, we'll almost immaculate it, or like not immaculate,
Yeah.
but we'll
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
we'll use it almost in a sense.
I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah,
But you know, what if the bird who just got born has never flown south? They never seen their mom fly south for the winter. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well,
I
they
don't know.
just follow their mom, I
This
guess.
besides the point. Besides the
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
Besides
We're
the
totally
point.
off topic, but yeah.
But the idea, at least that the book gets across, is the reason why the bird flies south for the winter is because it has instincts and has a goal-setting mechanism in its mind. basically. Its goal,
Okay.
if you think about, you could think about the hierarchy of needs. So basic needs at the bottom, physiological needs. You need food and water. You can't think about anything else until you have food and water. Above that, it's like safety. You need shelter.
Yep.
And the reason why I theorize, at least through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, humans have the capabilities of expanding their consciousness and thinking about things other than just hunting is because we discovered fire. We have the ability
Yep.
to have all of our needs met naturally based on the stuff that we've invented and stuff like that. So there's this idea that humans also have instincts, except because once you transcend above these basic physiological needs, food, water, shelter, safety, security, and then esteem needs, which is basically the need to belong, respect from other people, self-respect. You get that from, putting the work in whatever. You have the ability to set your goal-setting mechanism in your subconscious mind onto a goal, and you will naturally sort of fly towards it like a bird when it gets cold for the winter and needs to survive.
Yeah.
And so this kind of changed my mind because, when I was younger, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yep.
Changed my
I'm
life.
reading it right now.
Right, changed my life. And it talks about the subconscious mind. It talks about how when you read something multiple times. So in the goal, they make you set a goal. So it's like, I will make this amount of money by this date, this specific date, by doing X, Y, and Z. And then you read it off 3 times in the morning, 3 times at night. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. I'm trying to make money. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going to do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And you read it off. And I remember I was super stoned. I was like 18 probably at this time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all I can think about is making money right now. Why am I so stressed out about money?
Yeah.
And I realized, dude, my entire goal-setting mechanism got pinged on to
money.
that goal.
Yeah.
To that goal. And that resulted in its own problems because, I chased money for a long time, and then
Yep.
that's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's more fulfilling to provide value in exchange for money.
Yeah. There has
But-
to be a reason for you wanting to get that money. I
Right,
think.
right.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing about that is the way I was going to make this money by a date, which hasn't come yet, was lawn services, real estate, and personal training services. Since then, I happened to run a lawn business. I'm doing personal training right now, my
Mhm.
online coaching, fitness
Yep,
and
yep.
mindset, and I have a multitude of connections in real estate.
Yeah.
And it just happened in the background. Like, you look back and it's like, yeah, it was conscious at the time, but where did those thoughts come from?
Yeah.
It came from your subconscious mind, from you programming your goal-setting
Mhm.
mechanism onto that North Star.
Yeah.
And so I think to bring that back, something that I think is insane that a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of the reasons why people sort of are drifting through life, and they just, you see people and they drink often, they do a lot of drugs. It's because all they do is what feels good.
Yeah. They find
They-
the pleasures in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's definitely part of it, but they don't have a North Star.
Yeah.
And so people will see me, they'll be like, oh, Casey, you're all straight edge. Why don't you drink? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And it's not that I just, I think people, they think, oh, well, it's because this guy really prioritizes his health and he thinks he's way better than me or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, maybe I probably do have too much of an ego sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
not going to discount that. And I do care about my health a lot. And that's another reason I don't want to drink and I don't want to
Yeah.
do drugs. But also, my North Star, for which I compare everything up against,
Yeah.
it says no. And so it's no longer maybe I'll do this for this reason, maybe it'll be fun, fuck it mindset.
Mhm.
It's, I have this goal, and you compare everything to your North Star, to your goal-setting mechanism that you programmed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a strong point for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there is definitely something like, so of course I drink.
Right.
I drink every once
Right.
in a while.
Go ahead. That's
But
good.
I think with my North Star, like you're saying currently, like it just aligns with what I think is important in this time period right now.
Right.
'cause
100%.
Yeah, of course I like.
Yeah. And
I'm a healthy guy,
yeah.
fit,
Yeah.
right?
And
I do all these things.
it's
Yeah.
completely fine to drink occasionally.
Yeah,
And it's just something for me. It's just something for me where every time I've ever drank, I've been like, well, I wish I didn't do that. And so I'm just like, I'm not gonna keep playing this game and expecting a different result.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't care if anyone else drinks or smokes. Like, do what you want.
Yeah,
but-
I think there's an importance in knowing how to handle and like know yourself. Just know
Right.
where your limit is, because I've never gotten drunk in my life.
Really?
Never. No. Never once in my life.
That's crazy.
Like, of course, I've gotten high a few times,
Mm-hmm.
but that's like a whole different spectrum.
Right.
But yeah, no, like I do not get drunk. I only get to like one point
Mm-hmm.
to where I feel a little buzz, where like I was saying like this weekend, where your inhibitions go,
Yeah.
where you like I don't understand it, where you just stop really caring
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, and I don't normally care what people think about me, but it's just
But there's something. Yeah.
it's like that another level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It completely. It almost makes you forget about your past,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. But if
Yeah.
you rely on alcohol to do that, that's terrible, and that's why I do something like meditate. But I think it's
Yep,
great
yep.
because it allows you. It truly allows you to live in the moment.
It really does.
And-
yeah.
and-
I think me and you, we had a great conversation
Right.
that night. It was
Yeah.
It was a fun night.
Mhm.
I can't even complain about it.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, for me, I think I have an addictive personality, but I
Okay.
have a large enough of a frontal lobe to realize I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And whereas you're like, oh well, I'm good. I'm not gonna drink anymore. Me, my mindset when it came to drinking, why am I doing it if I'm not getting shit faced? That's my mindset.
Okay.
And then that's when I wake up. I sent texts to all my ex. I'm misaddressing my exes, sending it to the wrong number. So then they talk to each other.
And then
Then
the
they're
morning after.
then they're all shitting on me together. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna drink anymore.
Yeah,
it's like,
which is-
it's like,
You're like, fuck.
yeah. No, it's never for me. It's like, this is something I can't do. I don't like losing control,
Yeah.
and I lose control when I do that shit. And I know myself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Which is very important. I
Right.
Think.
Right.
It's something I think everyone should strive for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before you I think getting into a relationship before you know yourself is
Mhm.
important, because I think you find yourself through that pain and suffering
Yeah,
almost to an extent.
I think when you get your heart absolutely destroyed, I'm actually like writing a book on this right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm writing an ebook.
Oh yeah. You were
Yeah.
telling me about that. How
Yeah.
far are you on that? So
I'm
far?
just getting through the intro, just refining it, but
Okay.
it goes about, it's just like the down battery that I was in, sort of for this woman, and also just my life. I wasn't taking care of myself, and then I kind of got my heart shattered, woke up a little bit, and then it just talks about sort of this concept of drifting.
Okay.
Kind of like what I talked about earlier, where how people they don't realize you got to press go, almost.
Okay. What do you mean, like press go? Like just get started on their life and start
Yeah.
coast?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think there was this notion before. So I think I was telling you about this when I was 17. I took way too much acid,
Okay.
way too much acid, and then I also took the fattest possible rip of a weed pen, and then I started walking home alone at night.
That would have been a trippy
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, and eventually one of my friends, I met up back with my friends, and they're like, because they also did weed and LSD at the same time, and they were like, dude, this shit got to be laced. They were joking, right? See, I was so out of it, I'm like, I'm dying,
You're
and
like,
I
I'm done.
genuinely thought, like, I genuinely felt my soul leaving my body. I swear to God, maybe it was laced, I don't know. And then after that, I was just like, I was kind of going up to heaven's gates or whatever you want to call it, just, and this thought went through my mind. It was like, wow, I was so selfish.
Okay.
It was like all I cared about was smoking weed. All I cared about was chasing the next high. All I cared about was, it's like I could have made an impact. I could have talked to my mom more. I could have made the world around me better, but I chose to just indulge in stuff for my own pleasure.
It was all those regrets
Right.
coming at once.
Right. And it was
Yeah.
like, wow, my life, like, this is it. This is it. I never even thought I'm so young, my life never even started. I never even pressed start on my own life. And yeah. And then ever since then, it's like, I recognize when people, they're not intentional with what they're doing. They take their time on this earth for granted.
Yeah.
And hopefully the book aims to sort of address people who maybe have had that,
Experience.
yeah, that waking up moment. I think.
Do you think there's something to be said with you need to hit rock bottom to understand how your life needs to go?
Yeah. I think another podcast I've listened to, I was just listening to a Joe Dispenza podcast, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, and this is this guy who is basically the work that I'm completely promoting this dude right now, but you should watch his stuff because it's great. But the stuff that he talks about is this woman went through all of these traumatic events. They had her on all these pills, antidepressants, meds, and nothing was helping. Everything was getting worse, and then she started like meditating. And it's because like when your internal brain is always in this fear response, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It talks about how trauma causes your body to fight against itself. Because you're always thinking back to that event occurring, and you're always in fight or flight mode. Your body doesn't know the difference between the actual scary shit happening in a current moment or not.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to conceptualize what is happening in this moment. Yeah.
Right, because your brain's sort of piloting it. And so when you're traumatized and you hit rock bottom, or I'm kind of going on a tangent, but your body basically keeps the score. And so I think, to answer your question, I think, Joe Dispenza, he said he got hit by a truck, and that's what woke him up.
It was that life or death experience.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Same thing for me. There's a lot of other people that have had that same sort of thing.
Yep.
And I do think you need to hit rock bottom truly because the only place is up.
Yeah.
Because when you're always complacent, when you're always so sure of your reality around you, when you're always just this egotistical little kid just thinking that the world is yours and you're
like you deserve everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that you're not as fragile as you are.
Yeah.
I think being taken down to rock bottom, getting your ego absolutely destroyed, and just losing your entire sense of self to whatever has happened to you is sort of a rite of passage.
Yeah, I think it definitely has some truth in it because, like, you look at some of the most successful people on the planet.
Right.
They hit a sort of, like, obviously I don't know them personally.
Right.
But
not yet.
Not yet.
Hey.
Important
Yes,
way
sir.
to say it. But yeah, they all hit their own rock bottoms.
Yeah.
Like the most successful, like MJ, did not his story is everywhere. Did not make his high school varsity team.
Right.
Then he worked his ass off all summer, and then now he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. I'm not even gonna deny
you think
it.
he's better than LeBron?
Oh, 100%. But
Fair enough.
yeah, you like everyone has their own rock bottom. I think it
Right.
depends definitely on their personality.
Right.
But
And,
for sure.
And I think that some people will never be woken up. I think some people, they're going to lay on their deathbeds and they're going to think about the things that they didn't do. I think we're all going to think about that. I think I'm probably going to think back and be like, oh, I wish I don't know, I'm going to change it. But in the past, I've struggled with not spending enough time around people, prioritizing myself.
Okay.
And I think if I had died even 2 months ago, I would have had that regret. You know, not spending enough, not relaxing enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's this concept of, I saw this. It was on. I think it was Alex Hormozy and Chris Williamson on a podcast, and he was talking about a relationship, and he said he goes through all of these dates, and there's a glimmering hope that one of the girls has somewhat woken up, and then they say something, and they haven't, and you're just like, and that
interesting. He was like testing them.
Right, but it's like woken up.
Yeah.
What is that? What makes some people, I don't know. What makes the driven individuals? What makes a type A personality? Is it self-hate? Is it, I don't know.
For me, it is in the gym.
Yeah, right. But it's interesting, you see people like Hormozy and all these people who, they're ordinary people just like the rest of us are.
Yeah.
What makes Hormozy Hormozy?
Well, you think about Chris Williamson, he was a bouncer.
Right.
He was a bouncer for
Uh-huh.
so many years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just up and started a podcast. It's like,
Yeah.
what drove him to that point?
Yeah. It makes, I don't know. It's strange though, and it's hard to talk about this concept without a lot of people getting offended. For you can't go up to someone and be like, "You're sleeping," you know. But it's like the truth of the matter is, a lot of people, I feel like maybe it's childhood trauma, or just negative. I'd say the biggest thing is negative belief systems. Is they believe that they can't do great, and so they give up before they even start. You know, sort of this. I don't know if you've ever looked into like quantum physics, but it fucking
Crazy stuff.
crazy shit.
It's not like Ant-Man.
Not like Ant-Man. Nah. And it talks about how there's all these infinite amounts of realities occurring at once, basically.
Okay.
So time isn't real. This current moment isn't past, future, present. It's all around us all at once. And the thing is when you say those words, I can't, it makes it true. It cuts the cord.
Do you think? So I've been kind of thinking about this for a minute, but what is the power in like visualization, you think?
I think the power in visualization, I don't know. Joe Dispenza talks about how your brain and your heart emits an electromagnetic frequency.
Okay.
And that can be recorded on like an MRI or something like that.
Yeah, it's just your neurons going on and on and on.
Right. And so when you line up your heart and your mind, it amplifies it more. When you get your brain waves right, it magnitudes the brain waves more, and then it has the ability to attract that very thing towards you. Sort of like the magnetism.
Yeah.
And I think visualization, first off, I think there is sort of a spiritual power to it where you can curate your own reality. I think humans are way more capable of things than we even realize. But also, it allows you to prepare. It allows you to, because remember how your body doesn't know if something is real or false, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And that's why PTSD is so detrimental to people's health and their mental state, because their body still thinks it's happening even though it's not.
Okay.
If you visualize something that you want to happen time and time again, when that does happen, you'll be prepared for it.
Yeah, you're ready.
And so Psycho-Cybernetics talks about visualization a lot. And it says most of golf is a visualization game. It's believing that you will hit it in.
Oh, honestly, it's kind of funny because Rory McIlroy, who just won the Masters, he was actually talking about that a little bit.
Right.
Like, he visualized it, and then him and his, like, team or whatever, it's, like, all over ESPN. Like, the power of the silence just in general, which also is another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Like, what do you think the power in staying silent of your goals, like, instead of just, because I know there's something to be said about just when you get that dopamine hit of you're saying the goal, but you're not, or you're saying the action, but you're not actually doing the action.
I've been back and forth on this a lot.
Yeah.
And there is the fact that it does give you dopamine to do it, to say it. But when it's public enough, it holds you accountable. I have an alarm that goes off at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m.
Okay. 4-hour time blocks.
4-hour time blocks. And the reason why is because I think there is a lot of power in the energy that you have. I've been looking a lot into this concept of emotional frequencies.
Okay.
Which sounds crazy, but if you stay with me, you'll probably understand some of it.
Okay.
So at the bottom, it's like your survival instinct. So you got things like lust, you got fear, you've got stuff like that.
Anger.
One of the highest ones, anger.
Yeah.
One of the highest ones is love, gratitude.
Okay. Yep.
And so if you ever get into that state of mind, or you try and force yourself to get into that raised vibration state of just love for everyone, you know, you see someone on the bus and instead of being like, well, this guy is this, just being like, oh, this guy's a soul just like anyone else is a soul. You know, a homeless person isn't a bum, they're a person. You know, that sort of thing, just love for humanity. They say that you have more ability to increase that frequency that is between your brain and your heart to bring that magnetic pole of what it is you want closer.
So with being positive, you're saying just
Right.
like that positive
Right,
thinking
right.
attitude, you'll end up.
Right.
I guess you'll be positively thinking about that goal or whatever. Like, oh,
Right.
this is what I gotta do.
Right.
Okay, sounds
And then you
good.
just do it.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing too, this is something that they'll teach you in school, but they'll glaze over it, which is dumb as hell. And honestly, like, it pisses me off because I'm a psych major.
Yeah.
You know that, but
Yeah.
listeners don't know that.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going through AP psych. It's like, okay, you got, classical conditioning. Well, if you give a dog a bone, then every time it sits, it's gonna want a bone or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Classical, and then you move on to self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's like, if you fear something is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If you think something good's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You write it down. You go on. What? It's like they glaze over it like it's nothing, bro. Like the fact that if you fear something's going to happen,
It's gonna happen.
it's gonna happen.
I full on heartily believe in that. I don't know why.
100%.
I don't know why it
100%.
works. It's so
And
weird.
Dude, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It almost bends the reality around you.
Oh yeah.
If you
for
fear
sure.
something super strongly, it will happen.
Yeah.
If you put a lot of energy into something good, it will happen.
Yeah.
And this is something that Joe Dispenza also talks about is emotion is energy in motion.
I mean, it makes sense.
And so I think Think and Grow Rich even talks about this. But when you think about your goal, you need to kind of smile into it. You need to have positive emotion with it because it acts as sort of like a glue to it, and it makes it like supercharges it. And then before you even realize it, you'll start attracting these things towards you. Why do you think I came across this dude who was in the same hometown as me that happened to randomly be doing the exact... Do you want to know what this guy said?
What?
So I said my goal by the end of this year is I'm going to help 10,000 people truly believe in themselves by December 21st, 2025.
Okay.
Do you want to know what this guy's goal was?
What?
The exact same thing by the end of the year.
Really?
10,000 people.
Wow. And he probably has a much bigger platform
Right.
since he's been doing it for so long.
Right. That shit's crazy. And it's like, you can say, okay, it's a coincidence, but at some point, it's like you have all this faith, you have all this,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff starts to fall into place, and it's the craziest shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, believe in God or not, you need some damn faith, right?
Yeah.
You need to believe that things will be good for you, or else things that are bad will come towards you.
Yeah.
Fear is faith, just in the opposite direction. It's false evidence appearing real. Faith is also false evidence appearing real. But if it's positive, it's going to be a good thing that comes towards you. If it's negative,
Yeah.
same thing. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Which brings me to another point.
Yeah.
So I just had Bible study with my pastor yesterday, right?
Okay.
And one of the things we talked about was patience.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Bible, it talks about how patience is basically another form of suffering.
Another form of suffering.
And what I mean by that, so God will basically, you are like, God, I want this or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll put you through tests and trials and just a time frame
Right.
before you're able to get to that
see
point.
if you're worthy of it.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
it was actually crazy because I seen it within my own life because it's like, okay, I would ask for this thing and now I'm like, now in college I'm finally seeing it and I'd asked it like 2 years ago. And it's like,
What was it,
whoa.
if you don't mind sharing?
You
You don't have to share it.
I don't even recall what it really was. But like I remember talking about just how I finally want to bench 225 or like something like like it's just little goals like that.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's just kind of wild because it's like, okay, he put you through this thing or he put you through this thing and you got out of it and you're now so
Right.
much higher. It's like kind of like how we were talking about that rock bottom situation. It's like you hit that, but then you come out of it so much more enlightened and like you have that motivation
Right.
to do something more.
Right. And so you say patience is
Well, so I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but it's either Greek or in Hebrew. So patience, the word patience comes from the Greek or Hebrew word of suffering. I know, it's kind of crazy.
That shit is really interesting to me. I'm going to tell you about something because I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So, highlighting that, when I was deciding on how to make my program, which also happened to be scarily similar to this guy who's in my hometown making the same shit. Just he has an army background, so he uses like army phrases and stuff, which honestly is genius.
Yeah.
Hoorah,
motherfucker.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I feel like I talked to God. And it's not like a prayer. It's not like, he gave me some messaging. It's like, and you know a lot more about this stuff than I do. So correct me I don't know. I guess the truth is your truth no matter what. So maybe, I don't know. But I got on a Google document and I thought, what can I do to make this program good? And then I asked, well, what can I not do to make this program good? Okay, well, don't do nothing at all. Okay, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I keep going to not. What can I not do to that? Okay, that. Not do that. Not do that. And it got all the way down. Here's what freaked me the fuck out. It was like I was making the call scripts for my onboarding call. So it's like if I'm talking to a client to see if they're actually even ready to be in my program, they need to be able to give me a good answer, right? Okay. Because if I don't understand them, my program's not going to work for them. They're going to think I'm going to be left with bad juju. They're probably going to return money back and they're going to shit on my name. So it's like I need to give a good service, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is a good answer? Okay, well, it's not a bad answer, obviously. And then I went, well, and I traced it back to the etymological origin. So I went back for a bad answer is something that doesn't like center. And I'm completely like paraphrasing this. It's like something that doesn't. It's something that doesn't. That's not specific, right?
Okay.
And then I went back and I went, okay, well, what is specificity? And it got to like the word focus. Okay, well, it needs to be a focused answer, right?
Yeah.
Well, what the hell does focus come from? So I look back into the etymological origin. It comes from like the fire being the center point in someone's house.
No, that's what we were talking about.
Right. And then it went back to, okay, well, what is this? What is center? It comes from a Greek etymological origin word called kentron, which is a sharp point used to hurt other things. So like a sword or something.
Yeah.
The point of the sword would be the kentron, the center. A bad answer is one that doesn't have pain at the center of it.
Ooh.
And I got that from just being
going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and it's like, where does that come from? It's like, is that talking to God? Because they say in the Bible, the Word is God. The Word was God.
Yeah.
The Logos. I'm completely unraveling the Logos, and I'm getting an answer to my question.
Layers.
And I'm getting an answer to my question.
Yeah. What do you look for in the people that you coach? What is like a defining characteristic that they all carry so far?
Honestly, a willingness to change.
Okay. Right.
I think no one can be guided through something that they don't believe they can make a change with. It's like I can, in my videos, I'll break your limiting beliefs by being like, guess what, dude? Like, this is your only life. I'll say all this stuff and they'll watch my videos with the hopes of being raveled into them sort of waking up, as mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to redirect the route that I was going in terms of who I looked for, because before it was just like, oh, anyone, I'm just trying to get my first client, and that's not, I'm learning. It's not the route to go.
Yeah, you want quality over quantity.
Right. Somebody who, most people who reach out to me, it's not necessarily I'm looking for them, it's mostly they're looking for me. And because the way that I schedule I make my content, it filters out all of those people. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're going to watch my videos, my long-form videos, which are not hyper-edited and made to entertain you like a fucking Mr. Beast video,
Yeah.
there's going to be people who are genuinely receiving value from the stuff I'm saying. They
Yeah.
resonate with it. Okay, you want to get into my program? You have to schedule a call with me at a specific time. You have to also answer these questions. So you might think, oh, well, you're going to lose people through this funnel. Dude, in my opinion, I'm going to get the people who are actually wanting to change.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it. By the time they get onto the call, I know that they are wanting to pay me and that they are filtered out.
Yeah.
That the shitty people who are half committed are going to be filtered out.
Yeah.
And so I should probably refine that a bit more, honestly. But, make some sort of client agreement in terms of, what I expect from them, what they expect from me. But, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really do outreach. They come to me.
Which, honestly, I think,
For something like self-improvement is better.
like, okay, yeah. But,
go
like,
on.
for people that hit that rock bottom,
Yeah.
I think once they find, like, your videos or just self-improvement in general, right? Like, initially, that's where I was at, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to get a coach. Whatever. I want to get, like, I think I was watching Iman Gadzhi or whatever at the time, right?
Good Lord.
And obviously I've stayed away from him so far now in my life. But it's something like they want that guidance.
Right.
But they don't. What's hard is it's the work. And I never got a coach.
Right.
But now I'm where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel so much better. Like, I went through that 2 years of pain and suffering to an extent.
Right. Like, if you keep people from feeling the pain, you're not going to allow them to learn the lessons they're being taught.
Yeah. And with coaches, it's like, I agree. I think it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
It gets them on a right track to where they
Right.
need or want to go.
Right.
Because, of course, like me or you, even if we're trying to help somebody, we're not going to be able to do the work for them.
Right.
They have to, in their
Right.
mind, they got to be like, okay, I have to lock in. I have to do this shit or I'm not going anywhere.
Well, notice what you said back there.
What's that?
They have to, in their mind, say, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's like, I fucking break your beliefs. I'm the one who, instead of you being like, oh, I can't do this or something like that.
Well, you give them the ladder.
Right. I give them the mindset to begin building up their life.
Yeah.
I'm the bridge between them not knowing where to go and not believing they can do it.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I'm doing the work for them, but it's that I'm listening to them. They're
You're
talking to me about
assisting.
stuff they're going. Yeah, I'm assisting them.
Yeah.
Because you can't put people through a solid framework. It's not going to work. People are
No.
ever changing. But if you listen to this person and they're like, well, I've been trying to get in shape and I've been trying to go to the gym, and then I stop them. I say, shut the fuck up. Trying. You did it. Like, you went once and then you didn't go the next time. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means you missed a day.
Yeah.
It's like, just focus on today.
Do what you can do.
Do what
best
you
today.
can do, and it's not going to come instantly.
No.
And then when these people, and it's almost like therapy, in a sense, where it's just like you have an outside perspective of someone who can see your blind spots, where your ego is keeping you stuck, and that's kind of what my goal's been is meandering my way sort of past these guards that people have within their own mind to be able to allow them to see what they themselves are capable of. And I talked to a coach. I have a mentor now who she's
Really?
great. She's great. Yeah. I met her at that event I went to in Austin.
Yeah.
And she said what most people need is someone to believe in them. That's it.
They just need that person.
That's it. Because there's so many people who will shit all over you. I mean, dude, take this person at rock bottom, right? Take me at rock bottom. Heartbroken.
On LSD.
Yeah.
Going through all the.
Right. Heartbroken. My whole friend group was with people who smoked weed. I'd wake up in the morning after going to sleep high. They'd wake me up with the sound of a torch on a dab banger on a 2-foot bong.
Jesus Christ.
Waking up that way. And I just had to be like, because here I am. I'm like, dude, because I love these people. I always show love to people, you know, and I think a gift that I have is that I keep it real with people.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. But I'm like, hey, y'all, like, kind of like, dude, this isn't leading anywhere. And so I'd hang out with them, and they'd be like,
Casey,
oh, you're such
chilling?
a dick. You're
Yeah.
such a dick. And it's like,
Why'd you change?
right, you changed. You didn't, bro. You know? And so it gets to this point where you want to make it out of this pit, but your girlfriend insists on going out partying. Your friends insist on going out partying. All the people around you just want to be a degenerate alongside you. Not degenerate, they just want to be in their own ways, and you no longer want to be in their ways anymore.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, people do what they do, that's all right.
Yeah.
But, and that's what someone needs. That's what I needed. I needed someone who, you know,
Would
I
believe in
did
you.
go through a lot of suffering, but
Yeah.
I think some people truly just need someone who they resonate with because they watch my videos. I sound like a friend. I'm basically already a friend to them,
Yeah.
except now we're interacting instead of me just talking to you on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll fucking get you through your shit because I believe in you. I believe in anyone. I think anyone can do anything.
I think a person to believe you, like, okay, so something I want to talk to you about was the lonely chapter, but I think
Right.
it's very important to have somebody who believes in you during that lonely chapter.
You know,
Because I had my mom
yeah.
during that time, and she was also on her own little thing, but she, maybe not someone who believes in you, but somebody that you can look into
Up
and
to. Mm-hmm.
and see what you want. Because with my mom, she worked her ass off. She was going to college, working, and she was being a mother to us. Going to all, like, our sporting events, whatever. Because I was an athletic kid. So
Yeah.
seeing that and then being like, damn. And she's trying to go to the gym. It's like, okay, first thing I could do, go to the gym. Just
Mhm.
start.
Had a role model.
I feel like the gym is such a great starting point for anything.
I think, and I actually want to touch on that if you don't want to go on with your point.
No, keep going on.
So I mentioned it earlier, the hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
The highest level is fulfilling your true potential. That's people like Goggins. That's people like Hormozy. That's people like Chris Williamson. These people that you see at the top.
C-Bum,
Right.
all of them, yeah.
They're fulfilling their true potential. Below that is self-respect, self-esteem. You're not going to have self-respect or self-esteem or respect from other people if you're 500 pounds overweight. You're not going to be treated like a decent human being if you're super skinny. Because guess what? That's how it is. You can
It's a harsh
body
reality.
positivity your way into delusion, but guess what? No one respects you.
No.
And that's just primal urges. In my opinion, I think that's evolutionary psychology.
It must be.
I'd
Because
say.
we used to freaking go 10 miles a day searching
Right.
for food,
Right.
hunting, and, of course, that keeps you fit.
Mm-hmm.
Then as soon as we find pleasure,
Right.
it's like, okay,
Right.
now we're
It's
done.
like you are an indicator of
Job's done.
yeah. And so yeah, but that's what I think. That's why I think the gym is the catalyst. It was for me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, here I am at my absolute lowest. It first started with me wanting to get back at my girlfriend. Oh, fuck that bitch.
Yeah,
She's
that's
gonna-
normally how it
And
goes.
then I was just like, I can't believe, like, and then it's like self-anger. It's like, I can't even believe I let myself get treated like that. And then after that, it's just, this isn't even
Acceptance.
about her anymore. This is, oh, does that move? It must.
It does.
That's wild. It's not even about her anymore. It's not even about, and it's not even about the way that it makes you look either.
Yeah.
It's about, I don't know. It feels good, but it sucks in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think people who don't go to the gym, they never learn that lesson. They're so in their own head, in the moment almost, or they're so doubtful of the moment perhaps, that they don't believe that something they do in the current moment could result in them growing in the future. They believe that they were put here in this town, their life path is set, and they're just going to follow what everyone else tells them to do because that's what we do.
They're just going to coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to the gym, you get in shape, you're like, holy shit, I can change myself. Holy shit, effort does something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then that's how you start changing your beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, you have to have beliefs to go to the gym in the first place.
Yeah.
And I remember, if I was terrible at sports as a kid.
Yeah.
I struck out before I even stepped up to the plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I lived my life too. I struck out before I even stepped up to the
You
plate. That's
just-
how
It was over before
Right.
it even began.
right. And so that's exactly what happened. It manifested. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I struck out every fucking time.
Yeah.
I sucked ass at sports. And it's because I believed I sucked ass at sports.
Yeah.
If I based my weightlifting capabilities on my baseball playing capabilities when I was that little kid, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
But I had to have something that made me flip the switch, whether that was heartbreak, rock bottom, or that fucking bad acid trip that I had when I was 17.
Do you think so what was like your defining moment where you were like, I need to change? Was it that acid trip? Was it like all that hardship right there?
I'd like to say there was a specific moment, and I'd like to say it wasn't the acid trip, because it would have made a way better story if I like got impaled by something and almost died, rather than just being a 17-year-old that was hopped up on drugs.
Yeah.
But I'd say it was probably that. That was probably when I started realizing that I had been really selfish for a lot of my life. I'd been really just, I was so deep in my own head that it made me selfish. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people with narcissism struggle with. I mean, you take this I don't even know how to better way to describe this low vibrational view of narcissism. This person who blames other people. I mean, I'd even argue that some of the people that we're hanging around were acting like that, blaming other people for their problems and being like, "Oh my gosh, I hate this person. I hate that person. He's a narcissist." Pointing names. Well, you don't. A lot of people don't realize narcissism is because people are so scared that people are going to judge them that all they can think about is themselves. All they're thinking about is, oh, this person's going to judge me here, this person's going to judge me there, this person's going to... And they're so scared that it makes them self-centered. It's not like they're forcing themselves to be self-centered. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm so superior. It's that they're so insecure
That they're just...
that they make other people... It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. What is something that, like, you look for? Because you talked about it, like, how it's important to have, like, a circle, like a good group that's pushing you, right? What do you look for? What's, like, a defining characteristic that you look for in those types of friends?
It sounds shitty, but we're on the same route similarly.
Okay.
And that's the best way to say it. But a worse way to say it would probably be their growth will benefit me, my growth will benefit them. I guess that's not bad to say. But, like,
sort of
right.
transactional.
Right. And I think a lot of people are inherently selfish. I think
100%.
Yeah, like, dude, you're not going to worry about, again, if you're starving, you're going to think about yourself getting fed.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I mean, of course, there's
you
that
are number
possibility
one.
of sharing.
Right.
But
You are, if you have enough food.
If you have enough food.
Yeah. But then, like, dude, it gets down to the point where people have eaten each other. Like, there's stories of that.
That freaking
The ice.
I
don't know.
The fucking plane crash and
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And so, I mean, what I look for in a group, what I look for in a girl, what I look for in people in general is some indication of discipline, probably.
Okay.
If you're around me and you vape all the time, probably not going to be that close with you.
Yeah. Chances are you won't hang out with them very much.
Because they did a Harvard study on this. 57%. You're 57% more likely to get obese if a close friend becomes obese. And they're not force feeding you.
No, that makes sense.
They're not force feeding you. You're just around them. And so it's like, dude, if the route I want to be, if what I value is health, longevity, purpose, honesty, integrity, I should probably know my core values a little better than that. But I'm going to stay with people who has that same shit, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang around you if I have to rescue your ass from yourself.
If you're always saving them.
Yeah. Pick yourself up, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, I'll support you, I'll help you. But it gets to a point where it's like, dude, you're just not trying.
Yeah.
And you know, even with, like, girls I've been with, it's like, you see them and they're vaping and they're on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, like, you think you can save her. Which, first off, is a horrible thing to even think about someone, in my opinion, rather than just letting people be.
Yeah.
But second of all, it's like, they don't care. Because if they did care, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, you know, that's the whole cold, hard truth is if you don't have what you want, whether it be a ripped physique, whether it be a lot of money, whether it be a loving girlfriend, you don't value it enough. And that's why you don't have it. And that's some shit I got to face too. That's something everyone has to face, but it's it's truth. It's like if you truly want to overcome all of your addictions, I believe if you valued that enough, you would be over them. And I don't know. I've never been super addicted to something.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. The theories of addiction are very widespread. Some people think of it as a disease. Some people think of it as something you can change. I think it's up to what you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. See, what is the importance in? Because you can see a person, right, that has those personality traits.
Right.
That, okay, they go to the gym, they do this.
Right.
Right. But let's say, okay, but they drink every weekend. What's the importance of, like, because there's so many people where if you stick with them at their rock bottom.
Right.
And then you see that they're on a good path.
Right.
You're not necessarily saving them, but it's like you are almost investing, which sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But like I feel like there's an importance in that because there's
and not leaving people when they're at rock bottom.
Well, in like relationships almost. Like let's say okay, like I see this girl, right?
Right.
And she's not necessarily at a rock bottom, but she has that. She just wants something better. She wants a drive. Like she has that drive, but she's still at that point.
Right.
Like, well, I feel like there's such an importance in like
definitely
just going with that.
And I think something to be said about that as well is sort of like that love frequency I was talking about earlier. It's like you can't control anyone else, but you can sprinkle the seeds of that they will listen to if they make those realizations. So let's say you have a girl and she's clapped, like drunk as hell all the time, but she's like, I want to do something better. And you'll be like, you leave that door open. You're like, look, I'll if you need anything, seriously reach out, I'll do anything. It's like, I believe that you can be great. Again, that belief, being a hope dealer.
Yeah.
I'm going to get 20 years for being a hope dealer. But given that hope, it's like all you can't, it's not your cross to bear. It's not your cross to bear. It's something that someone else got their shit into. And if your paths align, I believe they align. And that's what I think is important about faith is because you can worry about this girl who might have been something good.
Yeah.
Or you can be like, guess what? Wasn't meant to be. Better things coming.
No.
You know? And it's like you can sprinkle those seeds to those people. But a lot of people, I think they subconsciously know that they don't want to stop drinking every weekend. Perhaps.
To an extent.
Perhaps,
yeah. Because, I mean, shoot, look at us last semester. During the football games, we would...
I mean, I never really did that much still.
Those point parties, though.
Yeah.
Like, we
I
did
smoked. I smoked.
Yeah.
But
so it's just...
It's like, and everyone's ever changing, too.
Yeah, well, you got to continue to adapt and evolve to your changing situation.
Right. And I think that's what's important to realize, too, is not to judge people too heavily. But it's like my circle, my closest circle, you know, my biggest thing is it's like
I write down in my journal these goals that I'm doing.
Yep.
I notice when I drink, I neglect them for a week. I notice when I smoke, I'm off track for 3 days.
Yep. I do agree with that.
And so it's just like, okay, well, what do I value more? Is it my goal? Is it the impact I want to make on other people? Is it the future life I want to have with kids who I'm supporting, family members who I can pay their medical debts off with? Or do I value a night out with the boys more?
Yeah.
And there's balance in everything.
Oh, and balance is so
and that's sort of a rule that I have is I'll go out 2 weekends of the month with friends. That's my rule.
Mm-hmm.
2 weekends of the month. But I'm not going to go out every single weekend.
No.
I'm not, and it's because, you got to live. Again, you have to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll hang out with you if we're going to do something that will benefit both of us, but mostly me. And it's selfish, but it's like, I'll hang out with you if we're going to the gym. I'll hang out with you if we're filming a podcast. I'll hang out with you if it's the weekend and I don't really give a shit because I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
But it's like during the week, I still need to get my shit done.
Yeah.
You can get your shit done. I'll socialize by doing my shit with your shit that you also need to
That's
get done.
actually a good point. I do tend to agree with that to an extent. I mean, of course, I have a bunch of just buddies that are just in the dorms and stuff. So
Right.
every once in a while, it's like,
Right.
oh,
And that's completely different.
what are
too.
you doing tonight? Like, let's just hang. Let's just
Yeah.
chill.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, but
Yeah.
I think, and that's kind of why I started doing my done by ones, is because I was so engrossed in just this constant go mode
Yeah.
that, like I said earlier, there's no blessings that was able to come upon me.
Yeah.
I would have, had I have not gone to the gym with my buddy,
yeah.
we both know, I would have never gone into the nutrition shop and met the guy who could advance my career through another lady.
Oh no, I
And
totally
gotten
believe in
experience,
destiny.
yeah, and got experience with another girl who completely left me on red.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
wow.
learning. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit. It's all a dub. There's
Yeah.
no such thing. I don't take L's, bro. I learn lessons.
I don't take L. The
And
great
so-
Jake Paul.
No. That's Larry June,
Oh.
not Jake Paul.
Hey, I think he
He
said something.
probably said something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything? What else? What else do you think?
Oh, well, let me go into my abysmal journal right now.
I'm just rambling.
Yeah, no, I do actually have a really good quote. That's by Marcus Aurelius, right?
Mhm.
I want to hear your thoughts on it. It goes like this: "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live."
Mhm. Yeah, same shit we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah,
It's like something that was really valuable at that event I went to that allowed me to, I think, make a quantum leap in my growth very recently. Like, I don't know, Mike said he saw a huge growth, but who knows?
yeah.
He was hammered, so I don't know. But
Mike yaps every
fear is
time.
not real.
Yeah,
Fear is either based on your current circumstances, which, again, hardly, or it's based on your past circumstances.
that almost trauma response.
Right. And so if it's like, oh, I'm so scared to walk up to this girl because in the past I
got
I
rejected.
fumbled.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Guess what? It's going to manifest. It's fear. It's faith in the opposite direction. Guess what? You probably will get rejected if you talk to her. You're going to reject yourself before she even has a chance to reject you. Self-fulfilling prophecy. And so, once you realize that you don't know, I don't know where I'm going to go. You don't know where
Nobody
I'm going to go.
knows.
Nobody fucking knows where anyone's going to go.
Anybody could die.
Right.
Any given set in time.
Exactly. And Brendan Burchard, he's that guy whose event I went to.
Yep.
He said, there's some people he was coaching, they were the dumbest asses. And then they happen to be the dude that got like $1 billion business. You don't know. You have no clue.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing as well is when you give out that love to other people, not for your own selfish benefit because, oh, maybe they'll turn out and they'll be great, but realizing that something might click for someone and they'll wake up and maybe they will open a door for you, or you guys can both contribute to making the world a better place is what I'd rather say than helping it benefit me.
Yeah.
And just showing love to people. The second you judge people, the second you aren't able to ever speak to them. because it's like,
You never know who you walk by.
right. And I think a big thing as well is you take a limiting belief about money. Oh, well, all these people who make a lot of money, they just rob and steal or stuff like that. Scam.
Yep, they're just evil people.
Right. Like I remember when I
Yeah.
told my grandparents about Hector, they're like, "Oh, he must be selling drugs." And there's like, no, no, he's just fucking providing a good service. And like, I don't believe that making a lot of money is that hard. I believe I'm gonna get there.
Oh yeah,
You know,
100%.
I believe like
I
it's
believe in you too, dude.
right, right. And when you have these limiting beliefs, I think that's a limiting belief. Believing that, oh, this person's on the bus and he's overweight and he's got a neck beard and he's fucking on his phone watching Pornhub. It's like, okay, you can be like, oh, this person, you can look at this person and be like, oh, what a disgusting filth of a human being. Or you can be like, this funny ass motherfucker, what is he doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? And there's just a different energy that comes with that. And so you associate these people with positive experiences, and then you'll also be more inclined to talk to them. Because I think
100%.
if you associate, you will not catch me talking to like my ex. You know?
There's no reason to.
Right. Well, first off, but second off, it's because I've shitted all over her to so many people that it's like my brain is like, no, we don't do that.
No, we don't talk to
Right. And
those people.
right. And it's like it's your subconscious is piloting you and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I think they're just always following what other people are telling them to do. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame.
People coast too much.
Coast too much.
I don't
I
understand.
I don't think there's necessarily, I mean, I do think there's something wrong with it because I think everyone is capable of being great. And I think everyone should strive for greatness because our life is so short. But I also see the value in just being hedonistic, you know? Their life's probably going to have a lot more up and downs. They're probably going to feel a lot more shitty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you can't have an upper class without a lower class and a middle class.
True.
And it's like it's just how it is. It's like, and that's not even
It's just
referring to class
mindsets.
warfare. It's just like it's just like there needs to be those types of people in order for a society to function.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't know shit about economics, so
Yeah, so something in my philosophy class that I dwelt on this last week was there's this question, I forget who actually says it, what philosopher it was, but he asked if are you ever able to reach satisfaction? And like I honestly don't think, like for me personally, there's always that bigger goal. Like as soon as I hit one
yeah.
like achievement, it's on to the next.
I think when you don't have a goal, you're depressed.
Oh, 100%.
At least as a man. I think the reason why I was most depressed when I was smoking weed and I was doing whatever with whatever girl,
Yeah.
I was depressed because I had no goal.
There's no road.
Right, because I think I subconsciously knew that I wasn't shit and that my girlfriend deserved better than that. But instead of me actually doing something about it, I just believed I was cursed by circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, I would smoke weed.
Self-limiting.
Right,
belief,
I'd smoke weed all the time and I'd hide it. You know, like I remember after the girl that really broke my heart, I dated this other girl, and I tried to hide it. And I'm like, oh, I smoke. It's like I knew I shouldn't be doing it,
No.
but it's like I believed that I was incapable of change, and I think that I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, like I was saying, I don't think you can ever reach satisfaction.
Right.
I mean, for me personally, I think people that coast in their life, they're definitely gonna have those pleasures, right? Drinking, smoking, whatever.
Right.
Whatever your vice is, they're
Right. Everyone has a vice, I believe. I think mine is work.
yeah, same, 100%. I think just being able to just go at it and just keep going,
Yeah.
never ending. But yeah, like I was saying, I think people that coast in life, for sure, they can find satisfaction in that.
You think so?
I think they can find satisfaction in it is what it is. Oh, well, I'm doing this tonight. I'm hanging out with buddies or whatever. And there's something to be said about, like, yeah, I enjoy every Saturday with the boys. We go drink at the bars. whatever. right?
Yeah. It's like
That's their goal. That's their mindset. It's
their
like,
goal is just
okay,
living it up.
I'm looking forward to Saturday,
Right.
right? Work all week. Saturdays are for the boys.
Yeah.
And for me and you,
Mm-hmm.
for people that are type A, right?
Mm.
I think there's no way to find that satisfaction. And that's what I stated in my response, because I was like, there's some truth to be told about how you can find satisfaction for a minuscule of a second. And then it's like, okay, what's next? Because you hit that, like when I hit 225 for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Now what?
okay,
Job's not
now
finished.
I got to hit it for reps.
Right.
And like now it's just that continuous loop.
Mhm.
It's
It's never
like
ending.
you have a goal and you keep going to it. And it'd be funny to tell my kids like, oh yeah, back in my day I used to bench 415. Like it'd be hilarious, right? And partially the reason why I'm like so motivated for something, it's like, okay, I want to retire my mom. I want to give my dad his dream vehicle. I want to
Yeah.
do all these things.
Same.
Uh,
Same
it-
shit.
Exactly. And then it's like I want to give my kids a better life than I grew up with. I
Right.
want to have these opportunities, but I also want to put them through hardships on their own so then they can achieve what I have.
Yeah.
It's that happy medium, and balance is such a learning in college right off the bat, like coming from my hometown,
Yeah.
small town, and of course Laramie is kind of a small town too.
Yeah.
But it's that happy medium, and it's such a hard thing, and I've struggled with it a lot last semester. for
Do
sure.
you think that those people going out on Saturdays with the boys are satisfied? Truly?
I think so, because you think about it,
They
you
don't
never-
want
you-
anything
well,
else.
You never know, because it's you get your construction manager degrees or whatever. Like the people are like, easy degree, whatever. Go become construction worker, right? They do this, whatever, and they just go up the ladder, and
Right.
But
They
it's-
just neglect their health, drink every night.
exactly.
Fuck it.
And then when they become 40, it's like, I gotta get my knee replaced this week.
Yeah. At least I
Yeah.
saved up a lot of money from working construction.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
they found what was
Yeah.
easy. They had
Right.
a great time doing it, but then it's like you're neglecting your health for
Right.
later on in life. And maybe it's, I came and drank an entire case of Busch or whatever while my daughter was playing with her Barbie dolls. It's like, why do you want to do that? Why can't you be playing with your child like that?
I don't know. I think we're both young.
Yeah.
And we have no fucking clue. But
yeah, true.
you know, I think that's something. I think it's a cycle of life.
Yeah.
I think it's very true that you should have fun in your 20s, and that's why I'm doing my done by ones, and then after that I'm chilling. Like I'm gonna start fucking watching some Black Mirror on Netflix. Like I genuinely am like sitting back. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like if you're always living for the future, it never comes, you know. And I think, like I said, blessings come when you relax a little bit. And so it's like if I can do
Yeah.
my most needle moving tasks, like before I came here, I wrote down and I was like, I'm gonna spend 15 minutes on my ebook, right?
Nice.
Because it's not like a big thing, so it's habitual, it's small,
Yeah.
but I can still get it done. It's like I'm gonna do the podcast. I said that.
Yeah.
I made like a leadership sort of manifesto. It's like, what type of leader do I want to be? What specific qualities do I need to have? And I'm just chilling, you know?
Just
and it's
hanging
like,
out.
and then also posting like in the school community of that guy who I talked to, because that'll like
Mhm.
advance my career forward. And it's like, there's a lot of joy in being like, okay, I got my done by ones. I can genuinely relax now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think that struggling through every day has the possibility of resulting in less progress than doing a few things every day and then allowing your blessings to come towards you. Having faith that stuff will be all right.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Because I almost feel like you're acting out of a place of fear if you're trying to fill every single second of your time with reading a book, with this, with that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're operating from a place of fear.
Well, that's why I value just time with friends during the week.
Right.
Like sometimes I'll go up to the VA, right? My
Mhm.
buddy Shepard, he works up there. So it's like, go hang out. The funny thing is, they always have toaster strudel. So I was like,
Yeah, toaster strudels are fire,
I'm
dude.
grabbing a toaster
I haven't had a
strudel. This
goddamn
is
toaster strudel in so long.
like, and I'll just chill.
Yeah.
And it's been something that's been hard for me because Chris Williams said this, but type A people have a type B problem, and type B people have a type A problem. Like, so what that means is, like, the type A people are the insecure overachievers or whatever.
Right.
Like, and their problem is not knowing how to relax.
Yeah.
But it's the people that like to relax and coast through life, but they need that David Goggins type of, like,
yeah, they need a little bit more
that's
drive.
that's what they need. That's their problem, is they don't have that.
I feel like a big problem that could come with that as well is that this is something I think about in terms of language, right?
Yeah.
So I took a cultural psychology class when I was in London last year, and it talked about how some certain tribes who are like in the forest have like 70 different colors for the word green.
Mm-hmm.
To us, it's green. To them, it's you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so the ability to describe what it is makes it real.
Yeah.
It makes their perception of it different. And so, yeah, you can say type A people have a type B problem, or type B problem have a type A problem, or you could just say type A people, or you can just forget the categorization and just be like, oh, I could try and be a bit more balanced. It almost kind of puts you in a box by saying something like that, wouldn't you think?
Not really.
Because I feel like before I was type B and now I'm type A. I don't think that happened from genetic chance. Maybe trauma elicited that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's a problem,
I guess maybe not a problem, but it's just something that you
that you struggle with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I struggle with relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll sit down and scroll for 30 minutes, and it's like, shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing? But it's
Right.
like, I didn't have anything else going on. What? Like, why do I need to, like, fulfill every
Right.
hour, every minute, every second of the day with something that's productive?
My justification for stuff like that is when I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Right? Which is anytime I scroll it because I'm like, fuck, I just spent an hour doing that shit.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't pull your fucking face away from the screen because they do that on purpose, by the way. But it's like,
I'll talk for another day.
it's like I know I could be doing something better with my time. I know I could be
Yeah.
learning. I know I could be listening to a podcast.
Instead of consuming.
And not only that, but in the consumption, it in that Brendan Burchard event I went to, it said for every second you get distracted, it takes away about 15 minutes of focus.
That makes sense.
Every second.
Yeah.
You're on your phone for 30 minutes. Whole fucking day, damn near.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah. And
I guess I don't really agree with him on that.
I don't know
but-
exactly what he said, but
Yeah.
it affects you way more than you think it does.
Oh, 100%.
Way more than you think it does. And I'd argue that that's because of like dopamine. So dopamine, the motivation chemical, the thing that elicits you to actually
Yeah.
do something. Well, if it's getting spiked from you swiping your finger, your body's not going to want to do anything but swipe your fucking finger. That's why you
Yeah.
can't pull your face away from it, and that's why you can't crush your goals. And I wonder a lot if a lot of the reason why a lot of people, you know, they think about the schoolwork they have to do. They think about the stuff that they have to do. All this stuff that they have to do,
The
it feels like
necessities.
they have to do it because all they're doing is this hedonistic pursuit of pleasure of dopamine that makes these hard things feel hard. Even though they're easy, you just have to stay away from those vices.
Yeah, you just gotta be able to work.
Right. Cavemen's skin wasn't crawling when they weren't scrolling on TikTok. It's because you have an artificial source of dopamine.
Yeah.
You have this spike, and then as a result of the spike, you have a dip. Now you feel like shit. Now you need to go back on TikTok to spike you back to a normal baseline. When in reality, if you never scrolled in the first place, normal everyday life feels enjoyable. I mean, hell, on the bus over here, every single person I look around facing their phone.
Oh, no, I saw it on the elevator coming
Right.
down from
And I'm just like,
my
dude,
dorm room.
I'm like, these people, I don't think these people even realize that they're addicts.
No.
I don't think they can even conceptualize it because it sucks you dry.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's like, oh, hard work. I didn't realize that when I got my dopamine under control, when I stopped watching porn, when I started taking cold showers, when I started reading books going to the gym, running instead of all this other shit. That stuff feels as fun as their phones to them feels.
Mm-hmm.
Because your dopamine threshold is raised every time you do that. And so in order to actually feel motivation to do anything, well, then you go straight for the things that are addictive. You go straight for alcohol. You go straight for weed. You go straight for your phone. You go straight for your vape. Whereas when you have none of that stuff in the first place, you can sit on the ground, sit on the grass, look at the sun, and it's fun.
Well, that's why meditation's so important. That's
Exactly.
why it's so much, for me, it's enjoyable and it's grounding. It's such
Right.
I've stopped doing it like almost completely. But like during the summer as a camp
Meditation?
counselor, oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's like my hour. So we get an hour every
You just
week.
meditate.
Dude, I would either meditate or I would read a book every
Nice.
week.
Yeah.
But it would be once a week.
Yeah.
And it would be such a fulfilling exercise. And like during training, actually, me and my buddy Church, his name's Devin, but like we sat there for 45 minutes while everyone else was getting ready or whatever, just doing some stupid shit. Just laid there in the grass, enjoying the sun, closed our eyes, and he sat with, like, that was the most like interesting experience because I've never sat with somebody and meditated.
Yeah.
Doing that, oh my god.
Yeah, you're just like connected. And that's kind of, have you ever done like mushrooms?
No, I've never done shrooms.
That's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It kind of throws you into like a meditative state right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wouldn't even like, I don't do them,
Yeah.
but I don't like, I think even Rogan said
You're
this.
not against them.
I don't think they're drugs. They're not drugs like how weed is a drug. They're not drugs like how alcohol is a drug.
No.
They're not like,
Yeah.
they need a different set. They need an entirely different, like, because there's so much more like that, like meditation, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up. What is the current project you're working on?
Yeah, so my ebook, I don't know what to name it, but it talks, the first chapter is called The Void. And
Okay.
it just talks about how you're not going to get fulfillment from chasing these girls. You're not going to get fulfillment from chasing these drugs. You're not going to get fulfillment from all of these otherworldly pleasures, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to get it either from, I don't know if you want to call it God, but you're going to get it from showing self-love. You're going to get it by treating yourself like the child that you will hopefully have and love. And so it talks about how a lot of people get sucked into this void of just the hedonic treadmill of just consuming, go to bed, wake up, consuming. Or, a lot of people, they work all day, they go home, and then they do their vice.
Mm-hmm.
They work all day, they go home, they do their vice. Meanwhile, their vice tolerance can only go so high. You need that vice just to feel normal. Because when you don't do it, you have craving.
And that's the void.
You have withdrawal. And then your vice eventually gets you to the point where all you're doing is working a 9 to 5 and then doing your vice.
Yeah.
And a 9 to 5 and a vice. And it's like, you can do that if you want, but if you want to build something, I don't think legacy is even real. I don't think I want to contribute to people while I'm here.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going to be remembered. I don't think really anyone's going to be remembered. That's not something I focus on.
Okay.
But what I do focus on is doing what I can.
Yeah. In the now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's that. And then also I'm thinking of getting I don't know what the stuff's going to happen with Kyle in terms of the program. I might have that community
Yeah.
have part of my viewership. So then there's like a different group for people who are younger. And I'm just going to continue posting videos and reels in the hopes of getting some people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really just refining my program. It's ever changing. It's a template. And so I can
Mhm.
always, the thing about an info-based product is that you can always change it, or product in general. This person thinks that this would be helpful. Okay, I'll add it. Now it's exponentially increasing in value. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now I'm really just focusing on making connections and also just learning to live at peace with myself, to get things done by one, and then to be
Yeah.
spontaneous, to enjoy my life, to too indulge in some of the things that I thought I was too good for.
Yeah.
Not necessarily drugs. I don't want to do that.
No.
But just spending time for the sake of spending time, because
Yeah.
it's like that's what life is. It's like
Yeah.
if I get my shit done and I know that this was the most needle moving task, it's not the worst thing for me to hang out with other people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still gonna track my macros. I'm still gonna do what I need to do to keep me
Do
healthy.
your laundry.
Right. I'm still gonna do my laundry, but that's something I've been working on, is really just realizing that
Yeah.
you need to let go. You know.
Yeah. That's an important mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something I took away from Growth Day is that event I went to in Austin.
Yep.
Is you don't know where you're going. Your fear is based on your ego, and you need to have faith that stuff will turn out.
Yeah.
Because without it, it's like, what are you gonna live in a state of fear and always work towards nothing? It's like it's like you can become addicted to anything that provides dopamine, right?
Yeah.
So that can be work or that can be drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, I respect you so much.
Yeah.
I am so curious, and I really want to see you succeed.
Yeah, bro. Likewise.
I'm really glad we're friends.
Yeah,
and
bro.
Yeah. Where would the listeners should go to follow you?
Casey Joe Comer on just about every platform. CASEYJOECOMER. And yeah,
Okay.
max out.
Oh yeah.
Just chase
Chase
greatness.
Chase greatness. Well.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Good Lord.